Hello, welcome, hello, how are you doing out there? You matter more than you think. I've been a therapist, like probably many of you, for a long, 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 long time, correct? And I don't know about you, but oftentimes I would come home from a really bad day and wonder, do I even matter? Like, I would be trying so hard or saying what I thought were the right things, because of course I knew all the right answers. I had read, I had gone to workshops, but yet oftentimes it just wouldn't land, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Do I matter? What really matters in healing? I didn't know. Like, sometimes I would be great, and sometimes it just not good at all. And about 20 or so years ago, I really began to realize that sometimes when I would be sitting with my clients, oftentimes I would realize that, I have that same problem. Might be a little different presentation of it, but you know what? I was just working on that last night. Or words would come out of my mouth that sounded totally brilliant, and yet a part of me is going, you weren't doing that last night. You know, it's like you weren't, you don't embody what you're saying. You don't resonate with all your great advice. And as I continued to observe, I realized that it was with those clients that oftentimes I had the most reaction. You know? Like, they didn't do the homework. You ever notice that? Any of the assignments you gave them. And somehow they didn't even hear what I was saying. And I thought, I wonder if that has anything to do with me. Mostly I was annoyed, to be quite honest, because, as Don D. pointed out, I'm a wood. But it pushed me to search. I kept looking for more techniques. There's got to be something out there. There's just got to be something I'm just not learning or knowing, another workshop I have to go to or something. And I pounded the heavens, because in my heart I truly wish to serve. I did, like all of us. We truly wish to make a difference. But I mustn't know something. There must be something I'm missing. And it was around that time that I stumbled into the energy psychology field. And oh my God, I thought, whoa. You know, I do this tapping, I do this, I was like a technique junkie. I went to everything, got so involved in ACEP, I thought this was like, and then I began to realize, when I was sitting with those like annoying clients who didn't seem to get better, that if I got really honest with myself and owned that I have the exact same issue, and I tapped along with them, holy smokes, we both got better. Both of us, once I really owned it. Now, by the way, I didn't necessarily share with them what I was up to, that I was doing my own work on their time, because I was the healer at the time, okay? But I got it. And then when I was meant to say something or speak on something, I realized, you know what, I'm like really embodying this. I'm really believing this. It's not just me pontificating or saying something that I think might be right. And then I would notice the next client that came in with like the same kind of issue, or maybe the next day or something, we would do the energy psychology on that, and they would clear like in one round of tapping, like really fast, once I cleared the issue that I had in myself. So now I'm hooked, okay, in this energy psychology stuff. I'm thinking, all right, there's something to this, but I wanted to know more. One of the things I loved about energy psychology is I began to learn there's some laws of energy, like who knew, okay? There's a law of resonance that you'll bring to you exactly what you resonate with. So that totally made sense. Well, maybe that's why I'm bringing to me these clients that have the same energetic frequency as I'm carrying right now. okay? Not necessarily always, it wasn't always necessarily the same story, but it was the same energy. I learned about the law of resistance, that what you resist will persist. And then I thought, wow, well, maybe it's when we say, even though I have this problem, I accept myself. I accepted I had the issue, and they accepted that they had the issue, and then we had the opportunity for healing to occur. Why? Because we stopped resisting what was. And I stopped resisting what was within me. This law of intention. So when I would tap this side of the hand, I always would do it with an intention with them. And that this idea that you could manifest what you intended, because energy will follow thought, and you will begin to create that. And I thought, wow, there's really something to these energy laws. I was so excited that it was starting to make sense to me how healing really happened. And the law of free will. This is a real important law on the planet because we have the right to experience whatever we want on this planet. And that it wasn't about me as the healer having to heal somebody else or all the advice or all the whatever I had. That they had a right to be, to their life, to heal at their own pace. And once I stopped imposing and resisting that right, this free will right that's a right of this planet, healing began. It freed it up. It freed it up. And things were happening even more faster and faster and faster and faster. But I still kept asking myself the question because there were still people, it wasn't working for some. I just couldn't totally get it. How does healing really happen? What is it about this energy in the room? What is it about this? Are we creating a field? Does my energy really impact the client? What is my role? And I had question after question after question after question. I would drive myself nutty, reading, looking, searching, pounding the heavens for answers. What is it that makes healing happen? And at the fundamental level, I was wondering, how do those masters heal? What do they know that we don't know yet? I mean, I got this. What do they know? What is it about a master that they can just come in a room and create the end of the field or whatever they're creating for healing to occur? And I wanted to know that. That was my search. So what did I do? I went and studied with some masters. Master Nan Lu. He had this saying, and I learned many, many things. I'm just telling you just a tiny bit of what I've learned. Master Lu had this saying, be useless. I had no idea what he was talking about. Be useless? What's the point? Don't I have to lead? Don't I have to teach? Don't I have to say something? Be useless. No idea. Could not figure out what he meant for the life of me. I studied with Her Holiness Saima. Met Saima right after 9/11 in 2001. And Saima had this saying, many, many things I've learned from Saima. You're not here to heal anyone. You are here to be a light and to show others how to be a light. And disease is caused by the belief that you are separate from Source. I was like, wow. Wow, they didn't teach me this in graduate school? Wow, so how do I do that? What does it mean? What's really happening in the healing relationship? So do you want to know what I found out? Would you like to know? Okay, cool. I'm going to show you. Here's what goes on. As a soul, you come to planet Earth. Your soul chooses to come, and you come to planet Earth. There you are, this beautiful being of light. You're never separate from Source. And if you look here, there's a tube of light, a big tube of light. People with psychic sight can see it. It's a tube of light that always connects you to Source. You cannot be disconnected from Source. It's impossible. You can call it God, grace, Allah, Jesus, it doesn't matter. You are always connected. You actually are a multidimensional being of light. So the baby comes. But here's an interesting fact. if the baby in the womb, let me say it this way. The baby in the womb, they're taking on all the energies of the womb, of the environment, especially the mother's energies, okay? So let's just play with a few of them. Supposing the mother is ambivalent about the pregnancy. The child, the baby, will take on the energy of ambivalence in them. Do I keep the baby? Do I not have the baby? Oh my God, I'm pregnant. Da, 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 da. And the child will have within them the energy of ambivalence until the point where the child can recognize it's there and transmute it. Because we're all very, very, very powerful beings of light. If there was scarcity, if there was no money in the house, if you were a pregnancy maybe that was a shock, oh my God, can we afford this pregnancy? The child will carry within them the energy of scarcity. And so you can see all these energies are there. They're there even before the child is born. But in general, babies are full of light, which is why we're all attracted to babies all the time. We want to be around them, we want to smell them, we want to soak it in. So that's babies. Up until the age of 7, what begins to happen is all the energies of the environment impact the child. So if your parents get a divorce, if someone leaves you, if you have a lot of siblings, and you think there's scarcity of mom's time, there's scarcity of this, my parents, dad's left, they'll abandon me, I doubt myself, I don't know who I am. You see, this tube of light still exists, obviously, but it's getting covered. We get covered by this tube of light, and all these energies are around us. And up until the age of 7 especially, it's like a sponge. The child is like a sponge. And so all these energies, they come in. And the child's beautiful qualities they go out, actually. They go out into the environment. But they get covered, and they get covered. It's always here within the child. But sometimes they have to suppress what their good qualities are. They have to try to find their way to have their needs met, and they get covered. As the child gets older, as the girl gets older, you see what happens. This tube of light is even getting thinner and thinner as more things are happening. The boyfriend breaks up with her, somebody betrays. And by law of resonance, this is what's key about that law of resonance, they will bring to them situations that resonate with the energies that are within them. That's a law, which is why we see our clients oftentimes repeating over and over and over the same things. And we might get frustrated, like they never seem to learn. It's not that, it's by law of resonance. They're bringing these situations to them over and over and over. And we wonder, how could their life be so bad? But these energies in them, there's not enough. I'm not supposed to be here. It's like this unworthiness. That all comes from the energies that are mostly in their field under the age of 7 and also in utero. Those are the main things. You also come with energies as seeds of karma, but we're not going to get into that. But these are the main ways it goes. So then what do people do? They go to a healer. They go to therapy. And by law of resonance, guess what? They pick a therapist who resonates with some of their issues. So you can see. And the therapist will be very good with her and right on target, just like with your tapping or whatever, until you hit their issue. Does that make sense? And then what begins to happen is the therapist, by law of resonance, she moves into contraction. She can't stay expanded and wide and get her guidance from her intuition, whatever we want to call this guidance that we have. She will move into contraction. At that point, there's not a healing field there anymore. Because in order for healing to happen, you need to have light. I'll explain it. You need light on a contracted energy. Okay? So the therapist has to vibrate higher than the client in order for you to create the space where healing can happen. Now again, the client has free will. So it doesn't have to happen. She may want to keep her defenses or have her reasons for not releasing this betrayal energy or the judgment or whatever's there. But in this space, the therapist has to be brighter, have a brighter aura, a brighter area on your issue. And that's sometimes why we could outgrow our therapist. You know, she might have been really good for this one thing, but not so good for this other thing. She might resonate with it. And so her energy, she can't hold a high enough vibration unless she does her work. And I'm going to say that again, unless we do our work. And it could be you just own. Yes, even though I've had an abortion, I accept myself. And I'm choosing to release the guilt around that or the regret around that. Or you do your work on it either with the tapping. I think that's a great start. The minute you recognize it, that you've been triggered by this client, with this client, you know you're contracting, you do your work there, and or you seek someone to supervise, to help you, to show you how to clear that in you so that you can serve your clients, so that you can serve, you can vibrate higher than them. Now, what happens if she goes to a client who has done no work, okay? I don't know if you can really see these slides. I don't know, it might be too light in here, but this one's, I know none of you look like this therapist over here, okay? But she's got so much in her field that the client here is actually, her energy vibrates higher than the client. She has more light in her field, more expansion in her field. And so it's very hard for healing to happen in a situation like this. Actually, the therapist might feel better after she leaves, but the client might not. Does that make sense? If she goes to this one, look at how wide the tube of light is here, the cord. It's brighter than her, so her intuition can come in. She can actually see what this girl has to still work on. She still has some of her own stuff, like all of us do, and that's fine. But if it gets triggered in her, she's able to work with it or go get some help with it. Okay? And in this situation, when you go to a therapist that vibrates more in this range, you just feel good being in their space. Their energy field, this whole field here, has it just being in their space, you feel better. And then as you begin to own and release and tap or do whatever technique you're doing on whatever, there's this light that's higher in that space between you and the compassion and the love and the freedom, you're able to heal it. Especially if this person here had the exact same issue and healed it, she is actually really powerful in terms of helping this person here. And we know that, for example, in the AA movement. How often in the AA movement can they get through to someone that's someone who hasn't been there? Or we know that in our support groups. But the question is, are you vibrating with the same issue low as a low frequency? Or are you vibrating having healed it and transmuted it with a higher frequency? Now you may say to me, how do you get, this is interesting, how do I get this to be brighter? You focus on it. You focus on it. That's where anything that focuses on your soul, on the higher aspects of you, the love that you are, you go to meditation, going to church if it serves you, synagogue, it doesn't matter, but you focus on the light that you are. And you stop believing in all these energies that got put on you, because that's not who you are. And when you really get it, that this is who you are, I mean, she's got still a little more work to do, but this is who we are, these great lights, then you will begin to heal as the masters heal, where they just walk in a room and put light out, where their capacity to heal and to serve in the service of healing, because everybody heals themselves. You don't heal anybody. You're not here to heal anyone. As more and more you're a light, you allow this to drop away if the client is requesting that, if that's her intention, because she has free will. She can keep it. But you don't believe the lie for 1 second. So similar to a sculpture who sees, yeah, you see the rock, but you see the sculpture inside the rock. That's what you focus on all the time with the client, You don't buy into any of this because you've cleared all yours. So it's nothing to be triggered. You don't lose your alignment. You can't ever lose your connection. You can lose your alignment. And you stay in this, and you meditate, and you do those things, or whatever spiritual practice you have that helps you to know that. And then you're able to walk anywhere as a light and serve without even talking at all, just by your presence. Saima told us that the most important quality in a healer is humility. Humility. Cultivate humility in yourself. This was something I had never cultivated in myself, and I still work to cultivate it. This humility, so that you can serve with humility. And what begins to happen with humility is now you're, as Master Lu said, you're useless. You allow the light to use you. And so I'd like you to imagine with me what would happen if we really took this on, if we really, really worked to drop everything that we're not, this unworthiness, this less than, jealousy, everything that divides us from the other, and really take on this knowingness that this is the light that we are. And we became strong pillars of light on this planet to serve this planet as light, as that. And we would have the capacity to shift this planet, each one of us. And so my message to you is, yes, you matter. You really matter. You matter more than you think. Thank you.